สวัสดีครับผมเดียวนะครับวันนี้นะครับผมอยู่ที่มหาวิทยาลัยรังสิตนะครับซึ่งได้รับโอกาสที่ดีเยี่ยมมากเลยครับได้สัมภาษณ์คุณไมค์โมเรโนนะครับ Hi Mike hello this is the first time in Thailand
Yes,
Yes.
the first time.
okay
Yeah.
how about it
Well, I just got here last night, so
Okay.
so far it's hot. Yeah. No,
Okay.
but I'm looking forward to going into the city and seeing Bangkok and.
okay let's start the first question please tell me about your music background
I mean, I grew up in Houston, Texas, so I started playing music there. I went to a high school for music, for it was performing arts, so they had a jazz department there. So I started studying jazz at that school, like I was about 15, 16. Yeah. So, yeah, there was a jazz ensemble, a jazz combo, and we had improvisation classes and all of that stuff. So, yeah, it started when I was in high school, going to that school. And then I started playing music in Houston, with the local musicians. Even though I was much younger, but I was playing with a lot of the people that were already established on the music scene there. So, and that gave me, a lot of the confidence to move to New York, to take the next step, So I went to New York right after high school. I went there, and I started going to school there. I did like 4 years at the New School University. So, and at the same time, I was just, really going into the music scene in New York and meeting everybody and playing a lot of gigs at that time. Yeah.
The main reasons that you choose to play jazz, why you choose to play jazz?
I mean, for me, it was just the openness of the music, like I didn't want to play rock. I wanted to explore all of the possibilities that were there within the jazz world. There was so much there for me to explore. I don't know. So, yeah, I just love the energy that I got from jazz, listening to jazz music, like all of the old stuff, all of the classic records and all of the new modern stuff. And, I was really interested to see how the guitar could play a role in the modern jazz scene,
When you start to play guitar, have you any routine guitar practicing?
My routine was always pretty simple. It was just, I always learned from what I was listening to, So everything was drawn from the records, So that was my routine, was just listening and picking out what I wanted to learn from each record, Yeah, but it wasn't like, with a book or in front of me, like studying music, it was actual records, and listening every day and learning from that. So that was my routine, was just learning everything that I liked, how to play everything I liked, yeah.
And how often you transcribe the songs?
Oh, I mean, every song I ever learned, I transcribed.
You just transcribe like a short, like all transcribe the whole?
No, just the chords and the melody, Yeah. A lot of times I wrote it down. If it was a song I really liked, then I would write my own lead sheet, because I wanted the right changes, the right melody, the right rhythms, like all of that stuff. And I wanted to see it the way that I wanted to see it. So I didn't go to real books to learn the songs. So yeah, I made my own. I have my own rule book, like all the songs I learned. But a lot of songs I learned, and I never wrote them down. I just learned them just for fun, Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. Have you any warm-up exercise?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just, however I'm feeling, because I feel different every day. Some days I feel, as soon as I pick up the guitar, it feels great, and I don't need to warm up. other days when I've been traveling a lot and you're jet lagged and you're tired and your body is achy and everything, I do really simple things and it's mainly just trying to align everything again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, sometimes when your car is not aligned and it's not driving straight, it's like the same thing happens with me. Like my two hands are out of sync, and my body is all messed up. So I just spend a little time trying to get everything back in sync again. So I mean, really simple things, just practicing. Sometimes I would just practice melodies,
Okay.
Just just to get everything together. It's more like practicing time, so it's really, really simple things. I'm just practicing something really slow sometimes. But it's not any exercises. It's always within a song, or like I'll warm up just on something, some kind of things to get my fingers warmed up, some kind of, just individual kind of like strumming things. I mean, but it's mainly just I'm always playing a song, and I'm never just playing any kind of exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I see you catch the pick like this.
Yeah.
Why you?
It just feels right.
Because not normal people.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
like this.
I'm not normal.
Okay. You are special.
I mean, that just feels right to me. This doesn't feel right. So I mean, there is no right way to play. It's just whatever feels good to you, you should do.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you make yourself relax when you playing in a fast tempo and slow tempo? How did you relax yourself when you play the song like this?
I mean, that's just the way you hear, for me. So the guitar is not an instrument that you need to play hard, It's like to get a sound. It's just, you can play it very soft and get a sound. A lot of people play it really hard. When they play fast, they play, but that sounds, to me, always sounds terrible, So it's just getting used to, how you touch the instrument, For me, it's once you figure that out, then everything is relaxed. So you can play up-tempo tunes, and as long as your ear hears it, as long as you hear at that tempo, then your body just reacts at that tempo. So it's not anything about your hands. It's all about your ear.
Oh yeah. It's about your ear.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard that you got scholarship. Right. How do you prepare yourself?
Oh, I mean, that's just being able to play,
Oh, just pray.
Yeah, if you can play, like, people will want you to go to their school. They will want you to teach at their school. They will want you to play in their country, So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can, just, if you can play, then you'll get, people will pay you to go to school, you know what I mean? In the U.S., all the schools are always looking for someone that will be able to represent the school later, They think in the future. So when they pay for someone to go to school and give them a nice scholarship, they know that when they leave the school, they're going to have a career in music. So those people are going to give an interview and say, where did you go to school? I went to the new school. So of course the new school wants that, So they'll let someone like me or one of my great friends, Robert Glasper, we started at the school. He had a full scholarship. He didn't pay anything to go there. I paid very little. So of course, like now, Robert is a huge star. So they were smart, so everywhere he goes, when people ask him where did he go to school, he says a new school, and then everybody wants to go to the new school.
Okay.
So that's the way it works there.
Okay. When you were young, how many hours per day you play guitar?
However I felt, I always played until I didn't want to play anymore, or I played forever, however much time I had. It doesn't matter really how much you practice. It just matters what you're practicing. Yeah. So you can sit there and stare at the guitar for 8 hours, but that doesn't mean you're practicing. Or you can sit there practicing the wrong thing for 8 hours, and you did nothing. And you can sit there for half an hour, 30 minutes, and really practice something, and you that's all you need. So it just depends. For me, it's what are you doing in the time. It's not really how long. And how well can you criticize yourself within that time, because everyone's different, so some people practice for 8 hours a day and they don't get anywhere,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not really about the time, it's just what you do, like how the choices you make during that time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to your songs. When you start to compose your song, what did you process?
It always happens pretty naturally, like composing for me isn't something that, it should be just a reflection of wherever you're at that moment, I mean, some people compose for a reason. They have, they work on a TV show and they need to write the music for this TV show. But, I don't do that. So I only compose for myself, for my records. So my process is always really relaxed, like I won't write anything unless it's something that is different than anything I've ever written before, So to write the same type of song over and over, like I'm not interested in doing that. So there has to be a unique idea there in the beginning, something that separates it from every other song that I've ever written. And so it starts with the original idea, and then I just develop it, But it's always an exploration, pushing myself to find something new, So it's never just like, I'm writing the song, and it's always, what can I try new in this song that I didn't do before, So I feel like a lot of my tunes they're all different, They all have their one little thing that makes it unique to myself, But yeah, it's always just, it's involved with the practicing, So when I practice, I'm always searching for something new. And in the middle of that, oftentimes, I'll come up with a song. Yeah. But it's never just like, it's very rare that I'll ever sit down and say, okay, it's time to write a song, It's very rare that I'll ever do that. There has to be like a deadline or something like, okay, my new records, I did that for this record. Like the very last song on this record, I needed something to end the record. And so I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to write one tune specifically for this band, for this album, and it needs to be this kind of sounding song, So, and then I wrote the last tune, Epilogue. So that one was written specifically for a reason, But everything else on that record was done at a time where I was just searching. Even if I sat down to write something, I didn't know what I was going to write, So it was just whatever I find. I would just improvise for an hour, and then within that hour, I'll come up with something, one little thing. It might even be one chord voicing that sounds very unique to me, and then I'll build a whole song off of that.
Okay, you mentioned to your new album just released. The name is Lotus. อัลบั้มใหม่ของคุณไมค์นะครับชื่อ Lotus นะครับ Okay, can you talk more about it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of just I've always wanted to make a record. So far, like all my records, that I have, at least the ones that I've produced with all of my own music. It's been a different band, like maybe there's there's two drummers on the record, or there's two. Maybe I have vibraphone on a few songs, and maybe saxophone on a few songs. But so the band each track is very different. But I wanted to do a record with the same band on the whole record, So just one drummer, one bass player, one piano player on the whole record, and the whole record would be that band, So that's how this record got started. And but all of the songs I feel on this record, I chose some of my most simple songs that were just very melodic, very, simple. I don't want to say like catchy, but all of the melodies are very memorable. Like you hear it once and it's almost like it's stuck in your head. So all of the melodies on this record are kind of like that. Yeah, and then I just wanted to let the band build, a sound around that. So I wanted a different drum fill on this record, so I called Eric Harland. And Aaron Parks and Eric Harland play on this record, and we did a record with Aaron years ago called Invisible Cinema, and so I like the energy of that record and that group, and I felt like these songs kind of had a little unique thing, almost like Aaron's tunes from that record, and I wanted to explore that a little bit with this band, I wanted Eric's sound, So it's a different record than my other records, especially from the drums. And and Doug Weiss has always been on my records. He's played on at least 3 of them before this. So Doug's on this, and but very, very straightforward compositions, Yeah.
Okay, maybe some student in this room, he want to hear you play the second track, The Hill of, sorry.
Kaikwit.
Yeah, Kaikwit. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'll play a solo version of it, but this, that melody is something that I just. A simple tune.
No, it's not a simple tune.
I mean, for me, it's
very
it's,
amazing over there.
Oh yeah, well, there we go. But yeah, that came from that idea of this voicing. Just kind of hearing something. It's all built around. me, it's still very very simple melodic material, and just the way you color around it is what makes it interesting, but it's almost like a folk melody, Very simple,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is an amazing tune.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. In your this album Lotus, Alan Park he play piano and you always play with him. Can you talk about him?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron is just we have a very natural partnership in music. I mean, it's weird because we don't play that often anymore, but years ago when we were playing a lot together, it was just very obvious that, okay, there's a definite connection here. Just, the way that we play and the way that I interpret his music, the way that he interprets my music, it's just always been very natural, It's like something that we don't really talk about. It's not that we're best friends and we always play together. It's just, we played with so many different people, but somehow when we get together, there's always the chemistry there, So musically, it's always just been very natural. Like, whenever he hears one of my tunes, it's immediate, the way he understands it, It's like when he plays it for the first time, that's the way it's going to sound, There's not really a lot of discussion about, oh, can you try it this way or can you do it this way? It's just the way he plays it. The first time he looks at the music, before I even say anything almost, he understands everything about it.
Okay.
So, I'm not as, with him, I have to study it a little bit before I can really play it. But even still, I mean, it's just like a melodic connection, and the way you portray that music is, for me, the way we work together is very easy, Yeah.
Okay, this question about student. In your opinion, what is the obstacle for jazz student in study and jazz?
I mean, I think I think the schools are the main obstacle. Yeah. I mean, I don't think most people understand what the school is there for. I mean, for me, school has always just been a place to go to be with people that have the same passion you do, but not to learn how to play music. I mean, you learn to play music in the clubs. You learn to play music at home, listening to music. You can go to school and receive a lot of information from your teachers, who are hopefully also professional musicians, and they can guide you, but they can never teach you how to play, So it's more like a sharing, a community. The school is about community, So I think what most jazz students don't understand is that you can't learn to play in school. So they never learn to play because they expect everything to be given to them in school, and that's not going to happen. So what you do is, what happens is you find students that have been studying music for 10 years, and they're still playing the same songs that they learned the first 2 weeks of school. They never, ever ask themselves, what should I do next? Because they're waiting for somebody to tell them what to do next. So then they never get anywhere, Then that's not the way music has ever worked, So everybody in school sounds the same. No one has an original idea. Everybody's playing the same songs. So everybody sounds the same, And none of them are learning anything outside of school, So that's the problem with school, Or with jazz students. I mean, for years and years and years, the jazz scene didn't have schools, and the music was much more passionate, much more natural, and much more unique, And then so now you have all these schools, and everybody sounds the same, and no one is getting anywhere, So except for a very very, very, very small group of people, you know, that can see that, you know. They go to school for the community, you know, and they know that they have to do all the work themselves, you know. So for me, I went to school, but I never waited for the school to tell me what to do. I actually took what I wanted to do to the school. I always was the one telling my teachers, I want to play this, I want to play this, I want to play this. And they're like, okay, great, 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 great. You know, less work for the teachers, you know. So I was bringing in all the music, and any time I went to school, you know. Even when I had a class, like let's say I took classes at the new school, that, like Wayne Shorter, we would have all these Wayne Shorter tunes, but then I would also bring in, like, hey, what can we try this? I just transcribed this tune. Oh yeah, let's try it, you know. I never waited for the teachers to tell me what to do, you know. I always was trying to get them to change their class to help me, you know, because I already knew most of the stuff that they were teaching, you know. So I wanted to challenge myself, and so yeah, it has to be, the student has to, you know, do as much as the teacher, you know, a lot of times. So again, that goes back to like, that's the problem with most students, is they don't do any work unless they're told to do it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now today you have online lessons.
I sometimes do Skype lessons, but most of it is when I travel, and if I have time, I'll teach some people, you know. Or in New York, a lot of people travel to New York to listen to music, so I teach a lot of people coming to New York to take lessons, you know, and to hear music. And I teach lessons for different universities in New York, but not so much online stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if someone want to learn with you by Skype,
it depends on what level they're at. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I see somebody at a very low level, I always tell them to find someone that can show them all the basic stuff, you know, and then maybe call me when they're ready to. You know, I don't like to teach very basic music theory and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, and the important questions. Most of people in Thailand about a jazz guitar player, he want to know why you play this guitar. This is what is the brand? Marchione.
Marchione. Yeah.
Marchione.
So Stephen is a guitar builder in Houston, Texas, and I'm from Houston, so I was there actually playing a duo show with Aaron Parks, and I was playing the guitar I played for years. It's just a Gibson 335, and we were playing duo. And after the show, Stephen came up to me and he said, "Oh, you know, my name is Stephen Marchione, and you need another guitar." You know, so that's how we started talking. You know, so he came. He wrote me afterwards and said, you know, I'm serious about making a guitar. I was like, okay, well, it has to be a semi-hollow body. It has to be based off of 335. And, you know, so that's how we came up with this. I told him what I wanted, and he built it, you know. But all of these measurements, all of the electronics are like a 335. Everything's exactly the same. Bridge, all of the pickups, all of the electronics are based off of what the 335 is. But he just added his way of making the neck. You know, so the neck is not like a 335 at all. It's more like almost closer to it's somewhere in between like a classical guitar and a 335. So it's a big neck. But I mean, all of this, the way it's built, I mean, it's just I mean, you look at it, it looks like it's one piece. You know, it's just everything is flawless.
This one is the one piece.
Well, I mean, the back is made from. Actually, I don't know. I know the top is two pieces. The back might be one piece of mahogany.
Oh, one piece mahogany and the top. What?
But I
what
mean,
is
I'm
the
just
wood?
saying that the way, all the shapes, all of the curves. I mean, everything. It looks like it's one piece of wood that's been shaped, you know, but it's multiple pieces of wood, of course.
This is what is the wood?
This is spruce.
Spruce
Yeah,
and ebony.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, you know, if you look at this guitar, there's just no other builder that builds like this. So
And how about pickup?
they're DiMarzios.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they're basically based off of the 335 pickups, you know, the humbuckers. But yeah, it's the best built semi-hollow body guitar I've ever played. You know, there's no one that even comes close to it. I mean, I've played them all. You know.
If someone want to get some information, how can
I mean, just go to his website, marchione.com.
Marchione.com.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there it has all the descriptions of everything. You can see the different models he makes off this. I mean, this is not the only guitar he makes, too. He makes all the arch tops, you know, he makes classical guitars, flamenco guitars, you know, yeah.
And he made by order too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Next question about CD or the song that you listening to.
I listen to a lot of Brazilian music, actually. Yeah.
Brazilian music.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of Milton Nascimento, a lot of Caetano Veloso, Chico Buarque, you know, a lot of Brazilian artists lately I've been listening to, yeah. Some very kind of more obscure Joe Beam records.
Okay.
Low Borges, like a lot of people in Brazil that are from Minas Gerais. It's like a certain part of Brazil where a lot of great composers come from that you would never, you know, a lot of people don't know about them. But in the 70s they were doing, I mean, really, really incredible music, you know. And it was not bossa nova, it's not samba, it's just like, it's a whole nother thing, you know. So it's another world of music that's kind of was happening alongside of all of the American and British music, but it's Brazilian, you know. So it's, and it has nothing to do with Joe Beam or bossa nova. It's just as, it's like you're listening to the Beatles or you're listening to, you know, Simon and Garfunkel. It's like it's singer-songwriter music, you know, yeah.
Okay. You have any project in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I have this project, this new record. I'm also playing with Stefan Harris's new band. You know, so there's a lot of different things happening that I come in and out of. You know, I do somebody's band for one tour, and then I do my band, and then I do another tour, and so it's always a lot of different stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's a mix.
Okay, maybe the last question. What is the most important thing that the musician or guitarist should pay attention, but they are not?
For guitar?
Yeah, for guitar off. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, that thing I said about, you know, like, of learning what you like, you know, like doing your own research, you know, so they don't do that. But for guitar players, for sure, the biggest mistake is they only listen to guitar, you know, and I don't know one great guitar player that I like that has something original that listens to very much guitar. They all listen to everything else but the guitar, you know? So it's very hard to play the guitar in an original way if you only listen to guitar, you know, because you're always going to just try to play like someone else. So for me, it was always listening to the guitar a little bit, you know. Like, I mean, of course, I got ideas from a lot of guitar players, but it was very small amount of influence as far as language, how to play time, rhythm, and all of that stuff, like repertoire, all of that came from everything else except guitar players. But sonically, especially from rock guitar players, I get more ideas of how to play the guitar sonically, like with effects and the kind of sounds that I would like to get. But yeah, I mean, there are some guitar players that I got a lot of influence from just by listening to them just a little bit, like so. I mean, all of the great innovators, like Grant Green, Jim Hall, Pat Martino, Pat Metheny, Bill Frisell, Kurt Rosenwinkel, Peter Bernstein. All of those guys are older than me, obviously. I mean, and but there's some guys that are just a little bit older than me, like Peter Bernstein and Kurt. Those guys are maybe like 10 years older than me. So when I arrived in New York, they were really just becoming known. And so I would hear them a lot. So like all of that stuff mixes in, and you get influence from everyone. But for me, I always was very careful to not just listen to guitar. So it was, and really in the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years, well, I would say maybe the past 15 years, I don't listen to guitar at all, like no jazz guitar. Just nothing. I mean, unless I'm out hearing live music, then I'll go hear those, all my friends play, but at home, when I'm listening to music, it's always something that doesn't have guitar in it. Just because I wanna get something new, like without the influence of how somebody else plays the guitar.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy for your show tomorrow.
Thanks.
ครับก็นี่คือบทสัมภาษณ์กับคุณไมค์โมริโน่นะครับกีตาร์ไทยต้องขอบพระคุณวิทยาลัยดนตรีมหาวิทยาลัยรังสิตนะครับและกีตาร์พาราดีนะครับถ้ายังไงลองติดตามต่อไปนะครับว่าเทปต่อๆไปกีตาร์ไทยจะสัมภาษณ์ใครนะครับครั้งนี้ขอลาไปก่อนนะครับขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ